I would like to thank you for joining today and taking the time to meet our award-winning franchisees. The webinar is actually going to be hosted by Kimberly Bonner, who is Regal Maid Service's Director of Franchise Recruitment. And she's going to be impartially interviewing Jane and Michael Bush, who are based in our Georgia location. And I should have really introduced myself really at the beginning. My name's Joanne Hollindrake. I'm the President of Regal Maid Service. So at this point, I will hand you over to Kimberly and Michael and Jane.
Thank you so much, Joanne. This is, again, Kimberly. I am working with Regal Maid Service as far as franchisee recruitment. I'm excited that you joined the webinar today. And I'm really excited to meet, although I've met them in person, but also talking to Jane and Michael Bush because they are doing some great things in Georgia and they have a wonderful story to tell. Jane and Michael, you're still there, right?
Yes, we are, yeah.
Okay, well, tell everybody, the listening audience, tell us a little bit about, what was your background prior to joining Regal Maid Service?
Okay, well, both of us were both in travel. I used to work for airlines, and Jane worked for a travel agency back in the UK. I was living in different countries, and then I moved to Spain, which is where Jane and I met. And then we moved to England and ended up working for a bank. And then we joined the Regal Royal Maid Service.
Awesome. Wow. So you guys are definitely world travelers. So had you made a decision back then that you definitely wanted to relocate to the United States and really stake your claim? How did you get from there to here kind of take place?
I had always wanted to live in America since I was about 7. And then Jane hadn't been to America till we got married. And we got married in Vegas because Jane wanted to see it was cheap and easy, and she always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, so we could kill all the birds with one stone there. So got to see the Grand Canyon, and Jane just fell in love with America. Fell in love with Las Vegas, and then we did a couple of other trips. It was just like America's the place.
Wonderful. And so when you went down the East and West Coast, you kind of decided you probably wanted to maybe have a business or be located on the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast?
It looked like it was going to be Georgia. And then it was just a case of finding where in Georgia. So we did another trip where we spent about 2 weeks looking around Georgia. Originally, we looked at Roswell, which is about 20 miles south of where we are, and then one day we just drove up, ended coming up into Cumming, which is where we are now. And that night at the hotel we did some research, and at that point Cumming was beating Palm Springs on most affluent places to live. It'd always been in the top 10 for about the past 5 years, and we decided Cumming's the place.
That is amazing. So you knew hardly anyone there? Did you not know anyone in that city before you decided to move?
No one, not a soul.
That is amazing. But you did your research and you figured that this is the market here is very affluent, and so you decided to stake your claim there. Real smart.
Correct. Yeah.
So we have this slide up that says awards, and everyone can see 2017, 2018, 2019. So that's an amazing story. You kind of start from scratch with Regal Maid Service in Cummings, Georgia. Don't know anybody, but you pick the right city. And I'm just going to keep making that point because I try to make that point to everyone I talk to. You pick an affluent city, and then you start this franchise and you get these awards and you start getting this recognition. Can you share a little bit more about the awards that you've earned? What were the awards for?
Sure. So it's not up there. We were the Business of the Excellence Awards, which is the 2019 one, the one at the bottom there. That's voted on by business leaders and big people in the community. The other award, which is the Best of Forsyth 2017 and 2018, that is a sort of county-wide vote. Anybody can vote for it. And yeah, we won it 2017, 2018. We came in second place this year for it. But the more prestigious award is the one underneath from the Chamber of Commerce, Business of the Year. That's, like I said, that's voted on by big leaders in business and the community. They come round, they actually see you, they interview you, have a conversation with you. You know, they come and spend a good portion of the day with you.
So let's kind of go back to the genesis of your story and talk about, you know, how did you initially learn about Regal Maid Service franchise? Like, how did you find out about it? And take us kind of on that journey of discovering why you finally decided to choose Regal.
Sure, I'd been looking for about a year on different businesses, either purchasing an existing business or finding a franchise. I'd come across Regal Maids and said to Jane, do you fancy this? And Jane thought it would be us doing the cleaning, which granted every now and then it is, but not as often as it used to be. We looked into it and decided, yes, this is what we wanted to do. Let's go ahead with it.
Okay. Well, what were some of the key factors for you in choosing Regal Maid Service?
We'd spoken to other owners of other businesses down in Florida, Joanne up in Arlington, and it was talking to them, their English as well. They were enjoying it. They were having a fantastic time. So for me, that was it. Let's just see what happens, and it paid off.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you feel that it paid off? Are you pleased with the investment? Would you do it over again? Just kind of share that with everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I'll do it again. It's paid off in the fact that, you know, people know who we are in the community now, both from a business sense and from, you know, on a personal level. You know, it's nice to walk down the street in a city, in a country you're not from. People go, hey, how you doing, Michael? Nice to see you. We've won the awards. I've got a great team of maids with us. So yeah, it's definitely paid off. It's in every aspect. Like I said, winning the awards was the top thing.
That is awesome. I know that a lot of people on the phone call want to know, like, what did it look like when you started, and what does it look like now, and how did you get from, you know, that startup phase to an area where you are now, where you're having a lot of success? What did it take?
So we spent the first 2 weeks hiring some maids, and then it was a case of now we need to get them some experience. So whilst I was going around sort of networking and talking to my bank manager about getting her place cleaned twice a week, Jane was having other companies, our competitors, come to our house, see where our prices would be. And then from there, we gave out a lot of free jobs at the start, just to you know, our neighbours, people in the neighbourhood, my bank manager, people that own businesses near me.
Oh, okay. So you started out, you gave kind of like these test free cleans to get your staff trained. Did you find that when you did that, those core initial clients kind of were influencers for you in the community and shared the experience with others?
Yeah. Some of the people that we clean for, they're still with us. Others have, you know, they've either retired, but they've given us leads to do other businesses, other homes, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's, you know, it's just sort of one thing led to another, and it kept growing.
And the people, they wrote reviews for us as well, which was good. So that got us started.
Awesome. I wanted to get Jane's perspective on Regal. You know, your view, was it a wise decision for you guys to make as a team?
Start with, I didn't want to go anywhere. I just thought it would just be us cleaning houses on our own, and I just said, no, I'm not doing that. So we left it for a while. And then and then I looked into it properly, and I was like, yeah, this really looks good. Let's have a look into it and see what we can do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, what advice would you give someone looking to invest in a Regal franchise?
I'd say look at where you're going to go, first of all, and do your homework on that area. But also with Regal Maids, it's quite a low franchise fee, which is the other thing that attracted us to Regal as well.
Wonderful. So, what do you think are the best aspects of being a Regal franchisee?
Being your own boss is one of the best things. It's dealing with people from day to day. I like going out and doing estimates and meeting the new clients and stuff like that. And just basically being in charge and running your own business. It's great because I never did it before I came here, and I wish I'd done it years ago.
Do you think it's critical for someone who has a cleaning operation like you do to have really good people skills and customer service skills?
Yeah, customer service is a big thing as well, and like communication. So talking to the customers and communicating with them, like telling them the maids are on their way, they're running late, that sort of thing. They really appreciate that sort of stuff because some of them are sitting at home waiting for the maids to arrive, and if they're like an hour late, then they're going to start getting upset. But if you communicate and talk to them, they're fine.
And so, if you were to give these prospective franchisees advice, like if you learned lessons from your successes and failures with managing staff, what would be some of the nuggets of wisdom that you would give them?
If you're doing a startup like we did, once you've got an office and you've got some of the equipment sorted out, advertise as soon as you can for staff, and then be very selective on who you pick, which is one thing we did when we first started. I think it was about 10 applicants, and we started off with 2 or 3, but they were the best 2 or 3. 2 of the girls out of the 3, they were really, really good at what they did. Great with the customers, great with us.
Okay. Well, I know you guys are very, very busy. I'm going to open it up to questions, and then also if you all had, any kind of closing thoughts about, why you think this is a good opportunity for franchisees, any kind of words of wisdom, parting thoughts, that would be terrific. Oh, I did forget one question. Marketing. What has been your number one marketing strategy?
The best thing to do is to try and get reviews as soon as you can. And then I think you get 2 or 3 reviews, and then Google will start giving you a star rating after, I think it's 3 reviews. So if you can do a great job of getting good reviews, you will hardly need to market your business because people will find you on the internet, they'll read your reviews, and that's how they'll pick you. And that's what's been happening with us for the last 2 or 3 years. All you have to do is send a link to a customer, make sure they're happy with it first of all, and then you just say, would you mind if I send you an email with a link in it, would you mind writing a review for us? And they're usually more than happy to do that. And it's easier done that way, because if you ask people to write a review without sending them an email, most of the time they'll forget.
That's definitely true.
But we did, when we started out, we used, what was it?
We used Home Advisor.
Home Advisor.
Yelp.
So Home Advisor basically got our name out there, but it becomes too expensive.
I think with a lot of the advertising and things like that, it's knowing what works in your area. When we first started, social sounds like old folk. When we started, social media wasn't a thing. Nobody looked at social media, so we did a lot of direct mailing to people's homes, which was how we started a newspaper advertising. We've grown more into social media, but I think it's knowing where you're working and if social media works. Because I know in some of the Florida offices, they don't have the customer demographic that look on Facebook every day or every second.
Every second.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, we got one. Did you move to the U.S. with an E2 visa? If so, is there any advice you could give to other people willing to do the same?
Yeah, we moved with an E2 visa. I would definitely, if you're based overseas, I would definitely hire an immigration lawyer. Be prepared to spend the whole day at the US Embassy in London.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and the same with Jane and Michael, is that when you submit your application to the embassy in London, it's knowing that Regal Maid Service has a track record with the embassy, and we're a well-known company. And so there is only literally, I think, 2 embassy officials that actually deal with E2 visas. And so when I say that they're familiar with Regal Maid Service, they're familiar with it. So, and that's similar in a lot of the embassies. You know, they only have 1 or 2 people that deal with this type of visa application. We are used to putting together the package that the embassy sees, so we know what they're looking for when they receive an application. So it's very much proving that the business that they're growing is, 1, it's a legitimate business, and 2, it can support the person that's applying for the visa, because that's what they're looking for. All right.
No more questions?
Yes. When they just started business, there's almost no customers. So how you pay the staff? How you pay them by hours, or you pay them by monthly, or how you pay them?
Yeah, we pay the maids $10 an hour and the supervisors $12 an hour, and we pay them a month in arrear.
A week.
A week in arrear. That way, you know, uniform, should they decide to quit or get fired, they will have to come in to drop off their uniform. But it's having that pool of cash of your own money that you've invested ready to go, that you've put into business, that will pay for it. And then as time progresses, you'll see, you know, you've used a big chunk of the money to get your business up and running and everything. Then, like with us, a couple of months down the line, you start seeing the bank account creep up again.
What we usually do is guarantee them a certain number of hours to begin with. So I believe it's 20 hours that we pay them a week at $10 an hour to begin with. And that literally lasts probably 2 weeks, because that's the first few days, and it could be at that point that they're going out and cleaning, like Michael and Jane said, friends' houses or connections within the community. And that's how we train the girls.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
One more question. How much is the investment when first starting, and are you paying the staff with your money before earning anything from the company? I think that overlaps with what you just kind of talked about. Joanne, do you want to touch on this question?
Sure. But we have a territory fee, which is a $30,000 territory fee, and then we have 75 cents per qualified home. So for a minimum territory of 40,000 homes, you're looking for an investment into the franchise to buy into the business of around $60,000. What we say and what we recommend, and this is in the franchise disclosure document, is that you have around 120 available. And certainly if you're looking at the E2 visa side, there's a minimum amount that you have to invest to show the embassy that you have the investment available and ready to go into the business. But we build it into that investment when we say 120. It's the initial investment into the company, but then it's also things like the vehicles, the uniforms, the office, the equipment that you need in the office, the supplies that you need, and also, like we just spoke about, for the first month to 6 weeks, the investment of actually paying the staff while you start getting customers. One thing Jane and Michael didn't do, but they're excellent at, is, and when we first started as well, they really have built their business through networking. They are the king and queen of networking. Even though they are Lord and Lady Bush, they are the king and queen of networking. And networking costs nothing. And that is really, you know, the cheapest form of advertising and the way to get customers and get yourself out there. And, you know, Jane and Michael won't blow their trumpet, but I'll blow it for them, that they are very much excellent at networking. Okay,
well we'll hand it back over to you, Joanne.
Okay, well, thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the line. Really good questions. Hopefully you've gained a lot of information. So thank you so much for Jane and Michael, and thank you to everyone that called in. Kim's contact details are on the last slide, which is there, and also you can find us on our website, and Kim's direct email as well is there for Regal Maid Franchise. So I'll wrap it up, but if you have any questions or it's something that you're interested in, then please just let us know, and we're happy to answer any questions you have. So again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.